All right, I need you to stop everything you're doing right now and really be present for this conversation because what I'm about to share is something I've been wanting to say for a very long time. Something I've seen men completely overlook again and again in years of observing human behavior and understanding how connection actually works between people. This is for the men, especially those who are 60 and beyond. The men who sometimes look in the mirror and quietly wonder if their time of being deeply magnetically attractive has already passed. The men who have been told by culture, by media, by the constant glorification of youth that desire belongs only to the young. I'm here to tell you something very important. That belief is not just wrong, it is one of the most damaging and wasteful lies ever told to men. I'm not saying this to make you feel good. I'm saying it because the psychology of female attraction, the real psychology, not the surface level version, tells a completely different story. A story most men over 60 are standing on top of without even realizing the value they're carrying while they worry about all the wrong things. So let's slow this down. Let's go beyond cultural noise and talk about what actually drives attraction. Not fantasy, not theory, but real psychological and emotional attraction. What actually makes a woman, not just why chasing her attention backfires. Notice a man but feel drawn to him in a way she can't fully explain because I promise you it is not what most men believe. And once you truly see it, once you understand what you already have, everything changes. Let's start with something research makes very clear. Even if it is rarely spoken about directly, women are not primarily attracted to appearance. I know that sounds simple, but most men still behave as if looks are the main currency of attraction. They worry about gray hair, changing bodies, lines on their face. They compare themselves to younger men and feel like they're losing a competition they were never actually part of because that is not the competition women are engaged in. What actually creates deep, sustained attraction is something far more internal, something that cannot be faked, and something that tends to deepen with age in men who have actually lived their lives consciously. We are talking about presence, purpose, emotional grounding, and a very specific kind of confidence. Not the kind built on never failing, but the kind built on surviving failure, rebuilding, and learning who you really are. These are not things you buy. They are things you become. And a man over 60 who has truly lived, who has loved, lost, rebuilt, reflected, and grown carries something incredibly powerful. Most men his age are unknowingly wasting it. The first quality women respond to is what I call embodied certainty. And let me be clear, this is not arrogance. It is not defensiveness. It is not ego. It is something much quieter and far more powerful. It is the presence of the silent confidence that drives her crazy man who knows what he believes, what he values, what he will accept, and what he won't. And he does not perform those beliefs. He embodies them. You feel it immediately in how he walks into a room not to impress, but simply because he belongs there, and how he speaks calmly without urgency, without forcing attention, and how he listens, not waiting for his turn, not distracted, but fully present, and how he makes decisions without anxiety, without second-guessing his identity. From a psychological perspective, this does something profound. It signals safety. A woman's nervous system begins to relax in the presence of such stability. And when the nervous system relaxes, something else emerges. Openness, warmth, curiosity, the foundations of attraction. But here is where most men over 60 lose this advantage. They hide it or they try to act younger than they are. They apologize for their age. They chase relevance instead of presence. They compete using rules that no longer apply to who they are. And in doing so, they abandon the very thing that makes them powerful. Stop competing with youth. You are not a younger man with more experience. You are something entirely different. A man shaped by time, depth, perspective. And when you stop hiding that and start fully inhabiting it, it becomes magnetic. The second quality is emotional availability. Not the performance of sensitivity, not saying the right words, but real emotional presence. The ability to speak honestly. How you speak matters more than what you say about your inner world without collapsing into defensiveness or hiding behind logic or silence. For many men, this is difficult. They were taught that emotion equals weakness. But that belief comes with a cost, a very high one: disconnection, loneliness, emotional distance from the people closest to them. But men who unlearn this through experience, reflection, loss, or growth become rare. And rarity is powerful. Emotional availability looks like this: a man who can talk about his past without bitterness, who can admit mistakes without collapsing into shame or ego, who listen to a woman's experience without trying to fix it, who can express appreciation in a real specific human way, who can sit with emotional complexity without needing to escape it, who can be moved by beauty, by music, by memory without shame. That kind of man is not common, and women feel that immediately because he is not performing connection. He is capable of it. The third quality is purposeful living. A man who is still engaged with his own life, not drifting, not waiting, not emotionally retired, but actively involved in something that matters to him. It could be work, creativity, learning, relationships, community, emotional leadership after 60 growth. It does not matter what it is. What matters is that he is still alive inside his own story. Because a woman who is grounded in her own life is not looking for someone to complete her. She is looking for someone who is already moving forward and invites her into that movement. There is a massive difference between a man who needs a woman to give his life meaning and a man who already has meaning and shares it. One feels heavy, the other feels alive. And aliveness is one of the most attractive forces in human experience. The fourth quality is physical vitality, not youth vitality. A fully inhabited body, energy and movement, presence and posture, care and appearance, attention and self-maintenance. Women are deeply sensitive to vitality, not in a superficial way, but in a biological, intuitive way. They feel whether a man is engaged with life or disconnected from it. And vitality signals engagement. It signals care. It signals life. And when combined with emotional depth, presence, and purpose, it becomes powerful in a way that has nothing to do with age. When you bring all of this together, embodied certainty, emotional final motivation, become unforgettable availability, purposeful living, physical vitality, you are no longer competing with younger men. You are operating in a completely different category, one that cannot be replicated by youth because it is not built quickly. It is built over decades of living, learning, failing, loving, and becoming. And here's the truth most men miss. The tragedy is not aging. The tragedy is wasting what age gives you, trying to hide it, trying to reverse it, trying to compete instead of embodying it. But women, especially women who have lived, grown, and understand themselves, are not looking for perfection. They are looking for presence, for depth, for reality. You are not past your prime. You are, if you have lived consciously, finally becoming who you were meant to be. So stop apologizing. Stop competing on terms that were never yours. And start inhabiting your life fully. Because the difference between a man who hides himself and a man who has arrived is felt instantly, not in words, but in presence. And when you fully arrive, she will feel it before you ever say a